Move over, Miss Universe. You're about to meet Mrs. Australia 2014. Kate Johnson is the reigning queen of the beauty pageant with a difference. Mrs. Australia has a strong emphasis on charity work as well as character and intelligence. And Kate's preparing to take on the world in the Mrs. International competition later this winter in Florida. Kate Johnson joins us on the desk. Welcome with the crown and everything.
Thank you for having me. I thought I'd bring the bling today, something a bit different, and I've got my sash, which clearly says Mrs., so it's a little bit of a different concept to the Miss competitions that you hear about as well.
No, and diamond encrusted sash as well.
And in our favourite colour, purple, like the show.
It's meant to be.
Hey, Kate, explain to us, what is the difference between Mrs. International competition and other pageants?
The Mrs. International competition is the only one worldwide that is purely based on charity work, which is fantastic because a lot of people, when they hear pageants, they think beauty and self-esteem, and really it's not good for society and that sort of thing. But ultimately, the Mrs. International competition and everything about the Mrs. Australia comp is purely based on charity work. So I love that aspect.
How did you get involved in this? What made you get started?
Purely by chance. I was already working as a model, and my aunt, who was going through ovarian cancer treatment at the time, she was researching online different support groups, and it came up with the Touch of Goodness Foundation, and they were doing a competition called Mrs. Australia. And because it was all about ovarian cancer awareness through their Pamper Me program for women who are experiencing gynecological cancer treatments, she's like, Kate, look at this, you know, combined modelling and pageant work, and you know, it's just charity and everything that you're doing already. And it's like, why not? What a great idea.
Good on you.
We always hear a lot about catfights backstage at pageants and other events. Have you ever experienced any of that or witnessed it? I have to ask that same question. It's always me.
Maybe off cameras I'll tell you something different. No, for the Mrs. competitions, one thing that's just so amazing about it is that women empower one another. So where you might hear about that from another aspect, maybe the Miss competitions or things that you see on reality TV shows, it's just not the case at all with the Mrs. competition. We've all added each other on Facebook, we're all connecting with each other on Skype, and I really feel like they're a part of the family, so there's no cattiness at all.
That's nice, but disappointing. You mentioned before self-esteem. You're obviously very passionate about that and about making sure that women value themselves. Have you ever struggled with self-esteem?
I have. A lot of people that know me today have only ever known Kate Johnson as the model, and that's all fine and well, because as much as I'd like to say, oh yeah, totally, I wake up looking like this, it hasn't always been the case. And I look back on photos through primary school, here are some now, I just look awesome. And it's not to say that everyone has an amazing school photo, but particularly because I had the severe acne, I had the braces, I wore glasses, I had no idea what was going through my mind at the time, because I was just completely ostracised, because at 11 years of age no one else was experiencing that. So I got the usual taunts and that sort of thing, and you cry and you don't want to go to school. But one of the most amazing things my parents did for me was they really just instilled that sense of empowerment. And it's like, Kate, this isn't going to last forever, and that's the message that I want to send to the girls. And as much as it is amazing doing the model work and the charity work and that sort of thing, the self-esteem and body confidence really comes from deep within, because different ordeals that you go through, seeing loved ones go through cancer treatment, I've been sexually assaulted, I've miscarried a child, and so these are all these little things that you can look at one person and think, oh, you've never had to fight for anything in your life. But on the flip side, it's like, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about, and the important thing is just to be kind, because you just don't know what that is.
So true. What do you say then to people, critics, who are critical of beauty pageants and say, well, they just amplify women's self-esteem issues? What do you say to them?
I think in previous years it probably has been a stereotype. I mean, the shows that we watch, things like Toddlers and Tiaras, it's like, oh my God, what are you doing with your 3-year-old? You know, that's not right at all. But in terms of the pageant side of house, it's changing. Mrs. International, like I said, is all about charity work. In the last couple of years, Miss World organisation have introduced a beauty with a purpose. So it's an evolving industry, which is fantastic.
The big competition is coming up in Florida. How are you preparing yourself for it?
Well, I'll be going straight from winter to summer. So aside from getting my frizzy hair down pat, because nothing's changed. I mean, I don't wake up looking like this. And working with my hairstylist, Kevin McKenzie, he's given me lots of tips and tricks. I've got an amazing skincare sponsor, Cactus Skincare, which is an organic range that it's going to stop all the oil, because even in my 30s I still have an oily tea section.
And your personal trainer to stay in shape and all those?
Absolutely. I'm fairly regular with my fitness anyway. I think that comes from looking at my mum, at 22 years she's been sitting in a wheelchair now thanks to a car accident, and so everything that she's done to maintain her body because she's had to health-wise, I look at her and go, oh my God, if you can do that, surely I can too. So I've enlisted the help of a personal trainer, and Blake Worrell Thompson as part of the 6 weeks to sexy. I'm like, oh yeah,
you're doing
you're well on your way.
I'm 2 weeks in, so
It's the gun show.
Hey, good luck.
Watch out,
Represent
Florida.
Australia
Thank you so much.
well. We'll all be backing you, and we can't wait to hear how you go in Florida.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Thanks, Kate. All right.